Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Strega book talk live show for the Reaper Book Club. And I am joined by the lovely Crystal from Fiber Artsy, whose
Hello.
channel should be linked down below. If not, I will go back and link it. Her channel is amazing. I always find the most interesting reads over there. And yeah, you definitely will hear of something you never heard of before over there. She reads a wide variety of stuff and horror, some romance, some really weird books, cosmic books, all of it over there. So definitely check her out. And thank you so much for hosting this month with me, Crystal.
Thank
And
you.
I read the synopsis of this book and I was like, this is a Crystal book. I was like, this sounds like something Crystal would really like.
And
That's
I
why I
did.
did ask you about it.
Yes,
Um,
thank you for asking me.
and did you want to talk about the synopsis of what Strega is about?
Well, what is it
Mm,
about, right?
I guess just the setup of
So
it.
let's see.
Yeah.
We've got our main character is sort of a young woman, and what we find is she has been sort of sent to work at this hotel that's kind of deep in the mountains near this little town called Strega. And so she goes there, and she realizes she's not the only one young lady, but there's a group of 9 or 10, I can't remember now, but a group of other young ladies that are going to going to work there as well. And so they just kind of start working in the hotel, and then one of them goes missing. Dun-dun. It's kind of the very basic gist of it.
Yeah, and it's the hotel nobody ever goes to this hotel.
Yeah.
But they are going through the motion. They're doing everything. They're cleaning, cooking,
Mhm.
making beds day in and day out. And yeah, I believe there are 9 of them, and they're all like 18, 17 or 18,
Mhm.
like kind of about to become adult women into womanhood or something. I feel like there was something there about becoming a woman for sure
Mhm.
in it. So I'm gonna put up a little thingy here for whoever's here. Just let us know if you guys read it or didn't read it. I think I picked like flowers and like a glass of milk. If you guys didn't read it, just let us know in the comments. I'm always curious to see like who checked it out or not. If you guys don't know my book club, we do focus on like shorter books, and I believe this one was kind of long for me. It was 193 pages, so that was kind
Oh.
of long for a Reaper book club. Uh, but yeah, before we talk about spoilers too, we could probably get into um, ratings. I think it'd be interesting to start off with ratings as well. Crystal, what did you end up giving Strega? I always want
I
to say
ended
it's Swedish.
I know, right? I ended up with 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. Yeah.
That's
What about-
awesome. That's so good to know. Yeah, I feel the same way too. I feel like it's like a really high 4. It
Mhm.
might almost be a 5 because like
Mhm.
the
Yep.
more I start to think about it, I'm
I
like,
was kind of teetering on the edge. Yeah.
oh yeah, okay. Like there's a lot of stuff going on here.
Mhm.
And yeah, I have a lot to say. I did read an interview by the author. She did an interview back in
Oh.
2022 with NPR,
Mm.
and she kind of brought up some stuff that I didn't notice in it and
Oh.
other stuff. So I
Mhm.
yeah, I guess the first thing I will welcome people as they come in to say hello to everybody. Hi
Hey,
Melissa.
Melissa.
Hi
Mhm.
Natalie. Hello.
Hi.
Hi everyone. I read it and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Yay.
Good.
What did you think too? I actually read it before the book club announcement. You did, Sarah.
Mhm.
Hi James.
Mhm.
Uh so yeah, we were just talking about ratings. So if you guys want to leave your ratings too, because we both rated it pretty high, which I think is like a first for in a while for my book club personally. Like uh last month, for example, Lexi gave that book 1 star.
Oh,
So
no. I didn't get
yeah,
to that
like
one.
yeah, this is like the first book club where we're both like, yay,
Yeah.
it was good.
Well,
We
good,
enjoyed
yay.
it. So what um what did you like about it?
I think, when I messaged you, I was like, I started reading it, I was like, because it's just vibes, right? What I
Mhm.
really liked was the overall like vibe of this. It felt so at times very like dream-like, and I don't know, like I was like watching this movie or something almost for me. The way it was written was it's very different in the way it's written. Like, I think maybe not everyone will definitely jive with the writing style, but for me, it just really worked with the overall like tone and the story and everything. It was very kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not simple. Simple is not what I'm trying to say. Like sparse writing. It's very just kind of, this is the story kind of thing. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but anyway. And I don't know. I really liked this group of ladies and seeing what in the world was going on, because it's like something's not what it seems, right? So I always love that feeling of like figuring out like what is going on here, because something ain't right. And so I
Yeah.
just love it's the whole vibe of it. I just really enjoy.
Yeah, there was like this mystery aspect to it. If you guys don't know, Strega in Italian is witch. So I was waiting for some witch parts to happen in it, and I feel like it's hinted at
Hmm.
with the witch stuff in Strega, the town itself.
Hmm.
Because the hotel where they're at is like um in the I think it's like in the Alps. I think it all takes place in the Italian Alps. Very isolated, small town, and there's like a group of just nuns in the town, and then like there's nobody coming to the hotel. Like it's all very like interesting. It's like,
Hmm.
so like there's witchcraft going on here, sure. But what
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the writing a lot. You're right. It is very like um simple, I guess, but also like beautiful at the same
Hmm.
time, and also like it's it like hits you a little bit. It's like
Hmm.
that opening line, that opening scene about like the bed and the milk and the
Mm.
crime scene, and like women are just like what is it, like used to violence or something. Like I think
Yeah.
that really sets up the whole book itself. It's all right there in that first little
Hmm.
paragraph. It's like this is what this book is about.
Yeah. I highlighted
And
quite a bit when I was reading it, because which I don't always do, but yeah, I did for this one. I was like, oh, this was great. This whole
yeah,
paragraph is awesome. I'm going to highlight it.
yeah,
Yep.
I went back and reread like the first chapter this morning and was like, oh yeah, like it's all in that first sentence. I feel like what this
Mm.
is about. Without like it even being that deep. I don't think it's like that deep necessarily, but it is really interesting for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Sarah gave it 2 stars.
No.
Oh no, I gave it 3. The vibe reminded me of Picnic at Hanging Rock. I think I would have liked it more as a novella. Yeah, The Picnic at Hanging Rock. I have read that, I believe, and I've seen the
Mhm.
original movie. It's about a girls' school, and like I think it's like Victorian Australian, and they go to Hanging Rock, like this big rock in the woods for a picnic, and 3 of the girls end up missing, and they like need to find them. They like disappeared. They actually redid the show for it. I think it's on Prime, and it's like very trippy, like
Mm.
um trippy like time stuff happens in it. And
Oh.
yeah, it's interesting. It's very girly too at the same time, which oh, I should say feminine, not girly.
Mm. Right.
uh too. I thought the writing was beautiful, but it dragged on, and I felt like nothing really happened. Wonder if you guys can change my mind. No, you're totally valid though, Natalie. I do feel like nothing happens in this
Mhm.
at all, actually, really.
Mhm.
Uh, I think the concept of stuff is there. And also this is we were talking before we went live. This is a debut novel, and I'm like so curious to see where this author does
Mm.
next. I will say I don't think this is horror. If it is, it's like more dark, like a dark fiction. It
Yeah.
didn't like feel like horror. It felt more literary
Yeah.
to me.
I would agree with that. And I think
Subject
that nothing
here.
happens, and I think that's intentional. Because these women, girls, whatever, are tried. They're sent. What I was getting from it was they were kind of sent to this hotel because they weren't necessarily girls that were interested in sort of playing that role of what a typical like woman was supposed to be doing, and so they were sent to this hotel to like iron sheets and do the laundry and vacuum rugs and stuff. And I mean, there is a mundaneness to that. It's the repetition of this life of womanhood, right? So I think nothing happened, but I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah, and that's such a good point too, because that's um, in the interview I Liz read from the author. She says like the hotel is like a prison. She made it a prison where the girls can open like they can leave and go as they feel. It's like they're there, but they're still like in a prison, and that's like how womanhood is. It's kind of like this prison, like we're just
Mm-hmm.
automatically in it. As
Yeah.
like roles are like put on you already just on your gender itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have all of these other roles on it on top of it. um yeah, and also in that interview too, she talks about how it people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the greatest feminist like a great feminist book and a great feminist story." And just because of just the 9 girls together day in and day out doing their chores and stuff and going into town, when she's like, "That's not the feminist aspect of it." She's like, "It's actually they're kind of um they're complicit in Cassie's disappearance
Mm.
stuff and like what happened to Cassie. Like they're a part of it because they waited too long to like call the cops and stuff. I should probably do spoilers here. I should put up the little ticket here. Yeah, the how that part of it. It's like, but is it that because they really waited. They took their time with
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just felt like the reader was kept too far from the narrative for me as a reader to connect, but I do think the author nailed the artistic style she was going for.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see it adapted in a movie. I think I need visuals and a movie score for it to affect me. Yeah, I think an A24 movie
I was thinking the same thing when I was
would
reading it. I was like,
be great. Yeah. It
or like
actually
Sophia Coppola directed it or something. Like, I
yes,
feel
it
like she
actually
would really
reminded me
nail
of
this
Virgin
vibe.
Suicides. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gave me those vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, absolutely an A24 movie for sure. So we kind of already talked about the writing. Um oh yeah, the so these girls are in this school and their friend goes missing. And as I was just saying, they really took their time to like report it. Like and there wasn't really like a sense of urgency, I feel like, in it. I mean, it felt very like the tone was the same throughout the story. So I can't tell if like
Mm-hmm.
when that stuff did happen, there was like, oh no, I'm like worried about her or something. It's like they kind of already knew what happened to her and didn't want to react. So I was gonna ask you, do you think I'm like, do you think they they were in some way like they did the violence, or do you think it was an outside source? Because I know she kept saying it was probably a man or something.
Mhm. You know, it never really came to my mind that they would have a part in it. So I would say no on that part for me because I never really thought about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And what
I
I'm
just
actually left questioning is like the ending bit with the at the nunnery, and they see that they meet that other woman there, and like I don't know. I'm so like not confused, but I'm just like all these things in my brain. Like, was that Cassie? Was that not Cassie? Is Cassie alive? Is Cassie dead? I don't know. I still don't know, really. I'm okay with
yeah.
not knowing, but I'm also like, what? You know, at the same time.
Yeah, I thought that the nun was gonna be Cassie, but we're never told if
Right.
it was her or not. But I was like, that would be really interesting. Like you just fake your death to like become a nun. Like
And I know.
what's going on there
I don't know.
in this town? Swedish people are weird, I guess. No.
Yeah.
um, did you feel like anything was like lost a little in translation since it was a translated work?
I don't think so. I think I felt pretty good about it. I mean, I think because it had a pretty distinct writing style, I think I don't, I'm not like some expert on translation, but I got along with it really well. I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
me
could
too.
picture things, and yeah, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah. I, that just thought I just thought of because I don't read a ton of translated stuff, so I was like, "Oh,
Hmm.
does anything, like, lost?" Because sometimes that does happen, with, like, I guess more, like, French and, like, Italian stuff. This takes place in Italy, but it's, like, a Swedish book. One other thing I thought of too, I thought of Virgin Suicides, and I thought of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Did you read those books? I watched the movie.
No, I DNF that book, but
It was so
I
hard to
never
read,
watched the
yeah,
movies.
I did too. But so that's based off a true story of, so that author, he was a journalist, and as a kid, he saw, like, this horrific crime against a woman who was his friend, and the friend never forgave him because he was like young, and the person committing it was like older, and he couldn't fend it off. So he wrote that
Mm-hmm.
whole series, but it's based off of like a Swedish serial killer. So like for a minute, I
Oh,
thought
uh-huh,
this
uh-huh.
author was kind of going to be like, oh, talking about a Swedish serial killer. So
Right.
did not happen.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
When Cassie went missing, I was like, oh, is it going to be that?
yeah.
Yeah. I think a film would work really well with this too, especially
Hmm.
because it's ambiguous and stuff.
Hmm. I could see
The
this like
most
just sweeping like hotel in the mountains and like but like such sparse rooms. Like there's no people, these like quiet scenes and like yeah, it would be really cool to see it filmed, I think.
Yeah, the girls smoking, like
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it would be great.
The most interesting part to me was when the two diverged at the road after leaving the hotel. Would love to see
Mm-hmm.
this in a movie. Yeah. It it's it was interesting. It was different, and I think that's probably why I liked it so much too, is because I was reading, like, I feel like I've been reading very standard books or, like, normal normal books,
Yeah.
like, I think I was reading, like, The Housemaid, like, a thriller or something, and then went into this and was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my gosh, like, this is gorgeous." I wasn't really expecting it to be so different and then to kinda
Mm-hmm.
simmer and, like, think about it. Um,
Yep.
I did pull somebody's, who really liked it. I pulled their review. Um, we could read it, because I was reading it and I kind of got something from it that I wasn't expecting, or I didn't notice from it.
Mm.
So I can share it. I hope I made it big enough. Let me see if I did this right. I tried to do this at my last live and it did not go well. Okay, so this is David's review, 5-star review,
Mhm.
and I won't read the whole thing. But what he does talk about here is that the women reenact daily rituals seemingly without purpose because the hotel is seemingly without guests. Then violence arrives. Like they're in this like everyday to day stuff, doing the same thing, and without any warning, violence arrives. Violence is a phenomenon that women are prepared for from childhood. Rites of passage facilitated often by women themselves. Okay. When the violence is visible, it can appear performative, seemingly unreal, and yet very, 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 very real. Every chapter, every sentence in this book contains layers of meaning, including a foreboding setting that can be seen as a representation of the European project. The empty Olympic Hotel is situated in a sinister town called Strega, a relic of hollowed out civilization haunted by a pre modern world. Nuanced, eerie, and brilliant. So the part that got me was the like European project. I have
Mm.
no idea what
Mm-mm.
is
Me
that
either.
like nuclear family stuff.
Mm-mm. I don't know about it.
And then but I do like the relic of the hollowed out civilization,
Mm.
and like how it's haunted by the modern world, like because it
Mm.
is isolated, and they are like in a relic of like a hotel and stuff.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So there was also this, ritual thing. They go get this like doll thing from the town, and they just hold like uh, play and everything. And I actually, I even thought for a moment, was Cassie like sacrificed as part of this, all of this too, because that was that whole thing, which was so weird. And I didn't know. That went through my mind at one point too. Back to Cassie, like what happened to Cassie, but um,
With the
because I
doll, the
was,
like living
yeah,
doll thing,
yeah.
that gave me like what is it, Stalin vibes or
Because
something.
I was like, was she like sacrificed or something? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what made me think too, like, are the witches real? Are the witches not real? Like, it just kept you
Mm-hmm.
questioning, like, what was really going on
Well,
with
plus
it.
it included the town. Yeah, because we're at the hotel, right? And it seems like it's just almost like a separate thing. And Strega is the town, and it's town. But this like included the town and all of what was happening, so it like widened the world a little bit, And so that's how I was like, what's going on? Yeah, like I don't know what's going on here. She sacrificed to Strega, the town, and like I don't know. Yeah,
To like preserve it,
yeah, I don't
like
know. I don't know.
in some way.
Mm.
But also, like, women are like, oh, we're just used to having to sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah, with no
um,
questions asked.
no questions asked. Where I think in that interview too, it is like just about how women are just kind of were born ready for violence, whether it be like everyday violence or just being a woman in self, like childbearing and like
Mm-hmm.
mothering and like all that stuff. But when she was asked about the witch stuff in it by the reporter or the interviewer, she was like, well, witches can either be seen as like evil, right? Like evil and bad, or as powerful and like something you want to strive for. So I was
Mhm.
thinking it was like maybe these girls are like onto this and they're like, oh, we want to hone that power
Mhm.
in a way. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was funny because she wouldn't answer. She was like, actually, me two things here.
Yeah. You can interpret how you want.
Exactly. But yeah, I want to know from you guys, do you guys think the witches were real in Strega? I mean, it's a town called Witch in the Italian Alps with a nun with nuns and like an abandoned hotel and just like all women. I'm pretty sure they are real in this instance.
Yeah.
um
I'm saying they are just because I want them to be.
Yeah, I'm like, I bet I'm just making it up now. I'm like, "Oh, yeah,
Of
that
course
was
they
a
are.
ritual, and Cassie was sacrificed." She was straight up like, it gave me, like, Suspiria vibes, like the new Suspiria with the witches, like well, Suspiria is with the witches, but the new one, the 2017 one, and it has, like, Mia Goth in it,
Okay.
and
I'm
she's,
behind on
like
everything.
she's poor thing is, like, sacrificed kind of in it,
Mm,
in a way. It's so good. I think you'd really like it. It's like
I know. I just
it's very long though.
forever behind on everything.
It's Tilda Swinton plays 3 roles in that, and one of
Mm,
them is like a 90-year-old man, and
mm.
this might be TMI, but she wanted to wear the prosthetic the whole time. Like,
No,
even when she did it, like, they're like, "Tilda, like, you don't need to wear it, like,
but come
'cause
on.
he's clothed." And this is like, you're at a restaurant, and she's like, "No, I need to be in character."
I love her.
Yes, it's so awesome. Yeah, I love that movie, but it gave me, like, those vibes, like, a little bit because it felt like it was something working in the background
Mm,
of everything, and
mhm,
that yeah, Sarah's right, there was, like, a big disconnect from what the
mhm,
narrator was telling us to, like, what was actually going on, I felt like, which
mhm.
can be frustrating, but I was like, I was into it. I was just like, I love
Yeah.
this mystery. And I
Yeah, and we
misspelled
only get
witches,
her
I just
point of
realized.
view.
Yeah,
So, it's
yeah, you
just
only get
from
one.
her. So, mhm,
Her comments about witches are so interesting because it reframes the nuns in a way since they were the ones pulling from nature and making their potions.
mhm.
Yeah, they're nuns
Yeah.
in it. I
Mhm.
just thought this would be like a really fun book too for spring, like,
Mm,
going into springtime and stuff, but I didn't realize how, like, on the nose it would be with, like, nature and stuff in
yeah.
it and, like, be in the middle of the mountains and the woods, like, I guess what I'm saying is I didn't realize how cottagecore it would be,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it is big cottagecore vibes in this, like, dark, witchy cottagecore.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I totally misspelled the witches with the D, oops. So I guess we kind of talked about like other recommendations, movie wise. Were there any like book
Mm.
recommendations?
Oh, I don't know. I have to think
I
about
am bad about reading
it.
book ones. I'm trying to pull up to see.
I'd have to think about that one.
Also, the other cover for this is great. It's like a woman smoking on the cover
Oh,
of
uh-huh.
um the English release of it. Yeah, the read.
I'm
Okay,
trying to
so
look at all my books.
under readers will also enjoy its Ordinary Human Failings by Megan Nolan,
Mm,
which I've never heard of.
mm,
Um, and then a bunch of stuff I can't pronounce.
mm.
Um,
Mhm.
Peach Pit, 16 stories of oh, I can't read that, unsavory something by Molly Lullen.
Mm.
Yeah, these are all like books I've never even heard of before.
Yeah, I
Think
don't know.
zombie.
But I've really read much similar, you know?
Yeah, I like it though. I like
Yeah.
this
Mm-hmm.
this thing. Um,
I'm trying to look down here.
somebody else in this too. They put it was like Wes Anderson sat down to write a
Mm.
haunting, evocative, lyrical, atmospheric, and overall perfect novel. This would be it. I love that review. That's great. There's a lot of reviews in here in Swedish too. I can't
Oh,
read,
uh-huh.
but they're kind of all over the place too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can
Um,
definitely see this going like to I totally hate it to I totally love it kind of book.
yeah. And I guess I'm just like the weirdo that's like, I don't really know what was going on, but I really liked
But I'm
it.
okay with it. Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
good with it. I
Yeah.
it gives
Me
me
too.
those vibes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I
It
know. Yeah,
almost
I didn't always have to know what's going on with the story, and I know some people don't like that. So yeah, wouldn't recommend if you like knowing how everything like ends out. But if you want vibes and like along for the ride with some interesting characters and weirdness, yeah, definitely recommend.
oh yeah. Um I wonder if this is similar to I haven't read it yet, but it just like thinking of what Lapvania is by Motesha Moshfegh
Tisha
is
Mashable.
like a Viking kind of wit. I don't know if it's witches. I think
I
it's
don't
just like
know.
a regular like Viking story with like those
I,
dark vibes in it. Maybe would be
maybe I
similar.
DNF that book, so I don't know. I
You DNF'd it? Oh no, I
that
haven't read it.
it was not for me. I think she's not for me. I have DNF'd the two books I read by her, so I think she is not for me. So personally, and it seems weird because it seems like she'd be right up my alley, but that, what I did read of Black Bone, I mean, I don't know, maybe I don't know. It felt different. It felt
Yeah.
more. For me, it felt more, maybe more dark than Strega. Let's say.
Um. Also, I thought of what's her face, Julian Flynn's book, her haunted house book, the Turn of the Screw one, the one she makes fun of Turn of the Screw in. I don't know why I thought of that one too. Because
Mm.
it's just like, because the narrator in this is so direct, I feel like
Mm.
it has a very bluntness to it, um, and that book too, the narrator is just like, this is how it is, or something. Like it's a little novella, and it's like, this is how it is, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I felt about this as well. I'm really trying hard to get some Rexy.
I'm terrible at that because I forget every book I've ever read when someone asks me to like.
What is your favorite book right now? Oh,
What?
The
I'm
Grown
like,
Up by
oh,
Gillian Flynn.
yeah, I read that one.
I
That
love
was
that
fun. I remember being
opening.
funny.
Yeah, that book is hilarious. The opening line is so great. It's like one of my top 5 opening lines of the best book. And I think she wrote that book as like a bet with George R. R. Martin or something.
Oh,
Is what was she
that's
put in
funny.
her Arthur's note? It's like, I bet I told you I could write a haunted house story. Here it is. But it like, is it a haunted house story?
Right.
It's just like making fun of Turn of the Screw, which I think is hilarious because I'm a bit of a Turn of the Screw nerd, and Alex like did his masters on it and stuff. So I
Okay.
like made him read this too. He was like, that is hilarious. Um, but yeah, I'm having a tough time coming up with book recommendations. But like we said Virgin Suicides, for movie, even though I think that's a book too. I've never read the book.
This book's
Uh,
really good.
the book is really good. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember you
Mm-hmm.
talking about it.
Book's really. I read it a million years ago, but yeah, it's really good.
It gave me
vibes.
those vibes, like them just like hanging out together, or like
Hmm.
something horrible happens and they're just like painting their toenails or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, those vibes, and Suspiria, the 2017 Suspiria, and it almost felt like a bit like a fairy tale too. Like you could do like the new Gretel or whatever. I think would work.
Yeah. Hmm.
Uh, oh, hi,
Yeah.
Alicia.
Sorry. Terrible.
Oh, you are late. Oh, you gave it 3.5. So we gave it I think we're both at a solid 4 right now
Hmm.
on it. I might be a little bit higher, like
Yeah. I
4.5.
could go 4.5. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was just like right up our alleys,
It's
and
good. Yeah.
it like hit at a right moment, I guess, for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's not gothic, but it kind of reminds me of a short story, Real Women Have Bodies by Carmen Maria Machado.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I
still
need
need to
to
read
read that.
her.
I think I've tried to read the Dream
I
House one, and it was like brutal.
haven't read
And
anything by her yet.
I was like, this is making me so sad. I can't read it. Like, it wasn't even like a
Yeah.
DNF, like I didn't like it. It was just like bumming
Not
me
right
out.
now.
Because it's
Yeah.
like about like a domestic abuse situation, and it was
Hmm.
just like it was just too intense. But
Just too much
her,
at the time. Hmm.
yeah, the short story collection, Her Body and
Other
Other
parties, I think it's called.
Parties, that's a
Hmm.
good collection. I like that collection
I
a
need to get to
lot.
that.
But yeah, the Dream House one, I was like, ooh, I made it 30% in, and I was like, I'm just like sad
It's
now.
like, not today.
Yeah, one day I'll finish it. I know people like love that book, but I'm like, oh, it's just a bummer.
So similar vibes, though the story is totally different. Maybe like I'm thinking of ending things. There's this the writing I think is kind of similar, and there's this of course there's just this vibe of like what the world is going on throughout that story. I mean, the stories are very different, but I think the vibes are similar. That popped
I
up in
like that
mind.
one.
I did
Yeah.
too.
Did you see the movie?
I did.
That was weird.
It was I was like, what?
Oklahoma.
Are we doing
Okay.
this?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're doing
Yeah.
Oklahoma for this. I was so confused by that. I was like,
Yeah.
is
I'm like, the story's confusing enough. Like you don't we didn't need to do all that.
I was like, did I miss the Oklahoma part in the book?
Like
And now I just think of like Euphoria when I think of Oklahoma too. So like it's just like a big cycle in my trash
you're right.
brain of it.
That was a weird one.
I gotta read it, Lavanya. I want to say that one weird too. Like I want to say Strega like Strega, and I
Strega.
say Lavanya like Lavanya. I
Well,
didn't
good luck.
I didn't read the book, but I love listening to people talk about books. Yeah, especially out of context. Sometimes it's like really fun because I feel like I'm like, yeah, I have the spoiler banner up here, but honestly, I don't think we've really spoiled anything because there's nothing really to
There's nothing to
spoil with it.
spoil
Like
because we don't know what's going on.
it's an experience. That's what it is. It's just like a vibe and a
Yeah.
mood. Like you can make a whole Pinterest board just like about just
Mm,
what happened in Strega.
yeah. It's a very female story, but you know, you just I don't know, you just feel it, I think.
Yeah.
I feel
You
like
just
maybe women readers would feel differently about it. Um, it would connect with them a bit more personally. I mean, men can can get it and understand, but I feel like women would get a little more out of it as far as kind of what she's trying to say, and be more like, yeah, maybe identify with it, and unfortunately, yeah,
yes. Yeah, that's what how I felt because I think oh yeah, and I listened to it. Did you listen to it?
and I didn't. I read it.
Um I got the audio and it was, like, so fast. The audio was just, like, flying by, and then, I read along with it too, and I was like, "Okay," but the way it also is kind of broken the dialogue, like, the chapters are so short and
Mhm.
everything on here too, and, like, I don't know, the how the formatting is done. It flowed just looking at it too, but the narrator in it, it sounds like she's just, like, telling you, like,
Mm.
being that blunt narrator, like, "Yo, this is the
Mhm.
facts," but it's also like, "You're not telling me everything."
Mhm.
It's like, "I don't believe you."
Mhm. It's kinda Handmaid's Tale in that way, where you just get in this one perspective, like in Handmaid's Tale, you just get offered, you're like, yeah, that's all you know, and so you learn everything, that's around her through her, so it's very similar in that way too, 'cause you just get this one perspective, and I think that's why we don't know everything also, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point. It could be, like, a little bit of unreliable
Mm,
narrator too,
yep,
but she's just so adamant. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I really liked her.
yeah.
Something about her,
It's, like,
she's
cool.
kinda
She was
tough, you
cool.
know?
Yeah. Yeah,
She
they
was
seem
like, "I
like really
really
cool
don't."
chicks. Yeah.
She's like, "I really don't wanna, like, do this." Like, the typical thing. She's like, "I wanna work at the milk bar, and, like, I just wanna live my cool life." And her parents were like, "No, you need to get married," and all this stuff, and she's like, "Well, screw you guys," and they, like, basically send her away to go work at this hotel, and do people
Yeah.
know, like, when they send them up there that things are weird? I
Yeah, that
wonder.
was not
'Cause when
made
Cassie's parents come, that was so strange. They were there for, like, 1 day, and, like, they just left with, like, "Okay, she's gone."
Yeah, and
Uh,
you would be there though. If that was your kid, you'd be there, like,
like, you'd still
until
be
she was
looking.
found. Yeah. Like, I thought that was weird too, and even I think our narrator was like, "And they're gone." Like,
Yeah,
they
and they
left the
left.
next day or something. Yeah, and I was like, "That's a little weird." Uh,
And then there's, like, the men kept looking for her, but they're never gonna find her because they're just men, right? They looking for a missing woman because nobody cares, right?
yeah, and I think she says it in the same thing too. She's like, "I think it was probably a man's fault. Like, it was probably his doing or
Y
something." And
yeah.
I was like, "Yeah."
Mhm.
Um, whenever she said milk bar, did you think of the milk bar from A Clockwork Orange?
Oh, every time I hear milk
Every
bar, yeah.
time I just thought of it, I thought of, like, Alex with the eyelashes, and I
Yeah,
was like,
every
"I
time I hear
get
milk
out of
bar,
my head, get out of my."
I'm like, "Ultraviolence."
I'm feeling
Yeah,
up to a
every
little bit
time.
of ultra.
Yeah.
Um, I lost
Crazy.
my hold on the ebook and had to use audio, which I don't prefer. I think I would have enjoyed it more reading it physically.
Mm,
I thought the audio was okay. It wasn't it was it did feel like I don't know, because yeah, you're just one person. So she's um I would I'm trying to think of that audio, that narrator's voice. Is it C Sands?
mm.
She does like that Sarah Galley book, Just Like Home, and she does a bunch of books, but she has
Oh,
that like kind of like really low monotone. I think she would have been great for this audio. She did not do this one, but I
okay.
was thinking of her voice. I was like,
Mm,
oh, that would be good if it was her voice
that was
because
her, yeah.
she has like a very like deadpan, like low,
Mm,
almost like she's whispering to you. I was like, I think that would have been good, but this one was just like more abrasive
mm,
narrator in it.
right.
But yeah, I love a C Sands narration. She's just like you'll know it, you'll hear her
I have to
voice. If
think
you
if I've
hear her
read her
voice,
before, yeah,
you probably have, and you're like, oh yeah,
probably.
that narrator's
I would
like
know her, yeah,
telling you a
uh-huh.
secret or something. Like,
Mhm. I can be a good narrator.
yeah. You can be a great narrator. You should do narration.
Oh.
Crystal, you have a great voice for it. hey, I didn't read the book, just here for the vibes. And we were just talking about vibes, Vic. So that's
This book is
perfect.
vibes. I mean,
If if you're just looking for vibes, the vibes are vibing in it, right? It's
yeah,
like
the vibes are vibingly in here.
and we didn't have a ton of like book recommendations for it, but if you're looking for like movie recommendations and stuff, we recommended Virgin Suicides, um the Suspiria, the 2017 Suspiria, I recommended, and I almost said a Clockwork Orange, not a Clockwork Orange. That's just in our head. Um, um, but yeah, I think everybody agreed in the chat too that this would make a great movie, like an A24 movie. Um,
It's.
yeah,
I'd be
it gave
curious what you thought of this one if you get to it.
yeah,
I think
it's interesting. I just thought of
uh
the witch a little
mm,
bit, but
the kind of
maybe
quietness of it.
the
Hmm.
quiet, there's like a ritualistic thing
Hmm.
to that, to the family, like doing their chores and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Um, but maybe, possibly, is what is happening in the background of the story at the ending of The Witch.
Mm-hmm.
I just love to
Well,
imagine
yeah, maybe.
our main character, the 9 girls at the end of it, just
Oh,
doing
wouldn't that be
that.
great?
It'd be amazing. In the little town of Strega.
Hmm. I want to go there.
Oh, me too. I'm like, the vacation. Yes. We can't bring boys though.
Yeah,
Um
no way.
would you work in this hotel? Is another question. I think this is my last question. Would you go and work here willingly?
I guess it's like, are you the type of girl that would be sent to this hotel?
I would have been, yes.
I would have been too.
100%. My parents would be like, get out, go work in an empty hotel.
Please do something.
Yes.
um, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, we would be forced to, but
Yeah.
willingly, probably
Really?
not. The
Yeah, I
town would be
wonder.
cool.
I don't know how many of the girls went on their, just on their own and were like, like our main character was like kind of her mom, like, you're gonna apply for this job, whether you like it or
Mhm.
not. So, yeah, I don't know, but
That reminds me of my
there's
mom
this
when I
like
first
sense of adventure I think some girls have, like once they get to a certain age, and maybe you're not wanting to do that typical stuff yet. So, hey, let's go work at this hotel. That sounds cool. Like I totally did that. Like I like left my hometown and like I was like, Bilbo Baggins, I'm going on an adventure. Because I just wasn't ready to do the things that were expected of me yet. So I think I definitely identified with that part of, these ladies, and finding a little, the kind of found family aspect of these girls.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably would too, and be, like, mad about it and then be happy when I'm there, like, "Oh, this is
Hmm.
actually kinda cool and
Yep.
interesting." I actually do wish I did something like this, like, younger, like, went away from home and spent time with like a group of women. I think would be like really beneficial for me.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I just went to Europe like a lame person with her ex-boyfriend. um yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I remember hanging out with his mom, my ex-boyfriend's mom, a lot though, and like it was so weird because it was like something like I was missing, like from my mom or my sister or something. I'd be like, I need to hang out with your mom and not talk to you or
Yeah.
something. Like
I
I
need some
just
lady
like
time.
driving me crazy.
Yeah.
I do remember that being like a thing, and it was like for a
Uh-huh.
weekend or something, be like, oh well, we're going here this weekend without my parents, and I'm like, oh man,
Because there
I'd
is
be bummed.
something fierce about women friendships. Um, and even like, at the end of this book, where they don't ever see each other again, possibly, but the main, the two girls, but like they're always, I think, probably call each other friends, and they're always,
Mhm.
that time that they spent together, well, would be very meaningful in their life and kind of what they went through. And yeah, there's a like a yeah real strength in women friendships that I think is often undervalued in books and media.
Yeah,
I
you're
think I
right.
think it was portrayed really really well in here. Like not
Yeah.
everything has to be sex. Women can
Oh,
hang out.
yeah.
Women can hang out together, and it's fine. Like,
Yeah. They didn't have
yeah,
a 9 way or anything, like,
exactly.
no,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
and you're right, I get that too from it, and that makes me like it more,
Mhm.
is that yeah, the women friendship, parts of it, because you're right, we don't ever really see that, in books, and without sex being involved, or like a relationship having to, or a romantic relationship having to involve or something.
Mhm.
But yeah, just like a good friendship book.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love a good friendship. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably another aspect of it that I liked.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So, any last thoughts? We would totally go work in this hotel, especially in the Italian Alps. I would be there.
Yes.
I'd be like, "Ugh, a town named Witch." Yes, I would. And no boys
Yeah.
allowed. We'd leave all the boys and
Yeah.
go and just like work in an empty hotel and do meaningless things, do meaningless cleaning and
Well,
cooking.
that's another bond too. I think because I've done that, like I've totally done hotel work, and so you like really bond with the people that you do these crappy jobs with, you know.
Like retail, or like
Yes,
a
like I have
restaurant,
cleaned
or
public
yeah.
restrooms, like I have been there, and so like when you're with other people that are also doing these just really shit jobs, like you gotta bond,
It's like trauma bonding.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't think I have any other things, but yeah, leave it in the chat if you guys have any little I was like little last words to say. No, anything else to say about Strega. And yes, subscribe to Crystal if you guys are not subscribed already. And also the next month, this month, April, pick is Gila
Oh,
by
Gila.
Les Simmons. But if you go to look for it, look for Catherine um, Pettit. Pettit. I always forget how to say the name.
Mhm.
Um, there's an ebook available. I got my ebook for like $3 or something, and then there's an audio available as well. Very very short. It's about giant lizards attacking a carnival, and it fits old school April
Sounds
stuff.
perfect.
Yeah, um, and yeah, it's just gonna be really silly. I'm not sure if I'm having a live show yet. Whoever reads it, I'll be like, if you want to chat about it, we could chat about it or something. But yeah, and thank you guys so much for joining us talking about Strega. I feel all like empowered now, like witchy.
I know. It's
And yes,
good.
thank you so much, Crystal, for
Thank
joining
you.
me. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye
Yes, thanks so
bye.
much. Bye.